So in this video we're talking about unrequited love, right? So unrequited love is like when one person they crave unconditional love from someone who doesn't feel the same way. So it's like a one-sided love. It's like a one-sided experience that could actually make you can actually leave you feeling pain, grief and shame from loving someone who does not have mutual feelings for you, right? You might have strong romantic feelings towards a person and they're not reciprocating the same feelings for you. That's unrequited love. So we all have this experience in life. We all experience this at some point. And sometimes we think that they would eventually grow feelings for us or they would change and so on and so forth. And most of the time that doesn't happen, right? So unrequited love, which is like, it's like rejection, right? So in this video I'm going to talk about like the forms that it could take and the signs and what you should do, right? So unrequited love can take different forms, and you might think that you probably never be in this experience, but let's go through some ways that you could experience this. So one of the first ways is that you seek out someone who is emotionally unavailable, or they're just physically unavailable, right? You seek out someone who is already in a relationship. You might be a rebound, right? A person probably deal with you and then they went back to the ex, right? Or like you want to get back with your ex. That's unrequited love, and your ex don't want to be with you again. Or you start off with someone, platonic friends, mutual friends, and one person starts to create romantic feelings in the friendship, and the other person still like have you in friend zone. They still see you as a friend. Another way is like the person that you love and you want to be with, they're far away, they're in a different country, very far away, and you probably don't mind having a long distance relationship and they're not into long distance relationship. That's unrequited love. Or you're with someone, you're in a relationship and the person outgrow you, they fall out of love with you. That's something you can't change. The person change, they outgrow you, they outgrow the relationship, and they fall out of love with you, and you're probably still in love with them. That's unrequited love, right? So those are different forms it could take. And we all experience this at some point in our lives, right? But sometimes we might be naive, we might be ignorant, we might not know what is really going on. We might not have good enough knowledge about relationships and love and so on. And we might be in a position where we are experiencing unrequited love and we don't know. Some signs that you're experiencing this type of rejection is that not the first one, but one of the signs that you're the only person reaching out to communicate. You are the first one to check in with them, to see what's going on with them, to find out what's happening in their life. You are the only one taking time to reach out with them, to connect to them, trying to meet up with them, trying to follow up on things in their life. You are the one reaching out. They don't reach out. If they don't reach out, it's like if you will never talk and you'll never meet up. If you don't plan to meet with them, or if you don't show up to meet with them, you might never see them. That's one sign that you're experiencing unrequited love. The next sign is that you're confused about where you stand. You don't know where you stand. You don't know like what you're like being involved with them, and there's no status, there's no definition of what you are. You're confused. You don't know where you stand. You don't know what's going on in relationship, and they're like you're having mixed signals. Sometimes you think they like you, sometimes you think they don't like you. There's like hot and cold, in and out. You're confused, you don't know what's going on. That's another sign of unrequited love. The next sign, most of the time, well, almost always, you're the first one to like initiate physical contact. right? When you might attempt to physically connect with them, they might shy away from you. They might keep their distance from you. They're pulling away from you. And during your interaction with them, communicating with them, talking with them, being around them, you feel like you yearn for this for their affection. Like you're longing for them to hold your hand. You're longing for them to kiss you, to hug you, to like be close to you, right? But they actively maintain distance from you. They're not eager to spend time with you. They decline your romantic dates. You might try to plan a romantic date or plan a situation where it's just one-on-one, you and them, and they might just switch it up, modify it, and it's like suggest activities that would not foster like romantic connection or intimacy, right? So you're the first one to initiate physical contact. They might change up your dates or your plan into something like more of a platonic friendship or a group. Next sign you're experiencing unrequited love is you think this person is perfect. You think they are the most wonderful and amazing person on this earth. And you justify their imperfections easily. You make excuses for their bad behavior. You just tend to not see their flaws. You don't see their imperfections. You don't see their weakness. You don't see their mistakes. You just don't see that sometimes they're doing you wrong or taking advantage of you or taking you for granted. You just don't see, and you make up excuses and you justify their behavior. And sometimes you actually don't know this person. In your mind, this is a sign. You in your mind you think that this is the most intelligent person. They're so successful, they're wise, they're so attractive, and they're masculine, and well, if you're a woman, you're like a man. They're so powerful and they're so talented, and you just create this image in your mind. You might actually not know them, right? And you think that if this person could just love me back, and if this person could just like me back, everything will be great in your life. You idealize that person. You may be actually loving a person you created in your mind. You may be loving the fantasy of that person. You probably are not experiencing real love because you are creating this image in your mind of the person, and you probably might not even know who this person really is, right? You feel like you know this person, and you really might not know who they are. You really might just be creating this false image or this false person in your mind that they're so amazing, they're so wonderful, they're so intelligent, handsome, attractive, powerful, wise, talented. In your mind, that's what you create and that's what you love, and you think they're perfect, and you ignore their flaws, their weaknesses, their wrongdoings towards you. You justify and you make excuses for the bad things they do to you. That's another sign you're in unrequited love. And next sign, you're the only one trying to get to know them and trying to create this bond and this emotional connection. You're the only one asking questions and trying to make conversation and trying to create amazing experiences with them, create memories with them. You're the only person doing that. The other person don't really know you that well. They're not asking you questions. They're not starting up meaningful conversations with you. They never ask you about your goals, your desires, your hobbies, your dreams, They don't ask questions. They don't know about you. They're not asking about you. You're making effort to get to know them. Your efforts to get to know them, it feels unbalanced, right? It feels unbalanced in the relationship or whatever situation you're in, right? So a person who actually like you, where there's mutual feelings and there's mutual connection and they want to be with you, both of you want to be with each other, you would actively, you will make an effort to build a connection and to get to know them. But you're the only person asking questions, creating conversation, trying to do all of these things. And those are some signs that you're probably experiencing unrequited love, right? Because sometimes you might not, you honestly might not know. Most of the times you know and you ignore it and you be naive and you create excuses, right? And you justify their behavior and you think they would change and you think they would grow into their feelings and you think they would grow into loving you, and that doesn't happen. And unrequited love, it impacts you, especially if you hang on in there waiting, hoping they would change, hoping they would love you eventually, hoping and wishing and fantasizing about them, about the future. This could actually impact you, because the one way it could impact you, you could get stressed, right? Loving and caring about someone continuously who doesn't love you back in the same way could make you feel unworthy, could make you feel shame and guilty in the end. It could make you feel after some point, after some months, years, sometimes even years pass of waiting and hoping and wishing and fantasizing that this person would grow into loving you, would eventually have the same feelings you have towards them. That could make you feel like you're not good enough, that you're not pretty enough, that something is wrong with you, and it start to make you feel you're just unhappy about with yourself and about your personality or who you are. You're starting to question who you are, right? And all of this is actually stress. You have been exhausting yourself trying to get to know them, trying to create conversations, trying to build memories, trying to meet up with them in a romantic way, trying to get their affection and their attention, trying to get their love, and sometimes you're trying to get a relationship and they don't feel the same way. You're trying to create meaningful conversation and interesting conversation so you could build this emotional connection, and it's not happening, and that is what I'm saying. This could create stress. Giving love, giving attention constantly and not getting anything back can lead to anxiety, to low moods, sleeping problems, depression, because you're actually being in an unhealthy situation, in a toxic situation for so long, right? And then you could regret. And another way it could impact you is that it breaks down your self-esteem and your self-worth. You might lack self-esteem, you might have low self-worth already, and that will make it worse because it will be even lower. Or you experience this unrequited love, this rejection, and it starts to affect your self-esteem, your self-confidence, your self-worth. Unrequited love is literally feels like it's rejection. Like, it's rejection. And yes, rejection is normal in life. But when we don't accept that the person don't feel the same way and we continue on, that is when we start to feel unworthy. You feel unworthy of their affection. You feel like you're not good enough. You feel like you don't deserve a good enough relationship. You feel like you don't deserve their attention. You feel like you don't deserve their love. You feel like you're not good enough, and having all of these thoughts. Like, why they didn't pick me? What's wrong with me? Why they didn't choose me? You start to think that something is wrong with you, and that's a negative internal dialogue that is breaking you down. You're breaking down your own self with these negative thoughts. You start to zone in on your weaknesses. This is breaking down your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-confidence, zoning in your weakness. You start to think about your weaknesses. You start to think about your flaws. You start to think about your imperfections. You start to spiral down into this pit about you, about all the bad things about you. Yes, we have both positive and negative things about ourselves, and it's that you zone in on your flaws, you zone in on your weaknesses, and you spiral, and that is breaking yourself down, right? You put yourself in a position to experience like sometimes love trauma, toxic love, just being in an unhealthy situation, unhealthy romantic relationship, and having and being rejected constantly. When I say constantly, is that the person, they don't feel the same way, and you're still there hanging on, hoping they would change, hoping they would develop feelings, hoping they would love you eventually, hoping they would see you for who you really are, hoping they would choose you, and they don't. And that is you, when you're in a space where you're constantly being rejected and not being desired, you're not being seen, you're not being acknowledged, that breaks down your self-esteem and your self-worth and your self-confidence. You're breaking your own heart and you're sabotaging yourself, right? Those are two things that could happen to you when you're experiencing unrequited love, and you're continuing on for a long time trying to make someone love you the same way that you love them and they don't, right? And well, how you deal with this? Well, I actually just did a video called Dismissive Avoidance, Love Trauma and Breakups. You should check that video I just did, and you should go to the part where I'm talking about breakups. So it's like if you're breaking up with someone, especially if you've been there for many weeks and many months and many years trying and hoping that your ex will get back with you, or that you finally get a romantic relationship, or you're waiting for their feelings to grow for you, or they change or something. When you finally reach the part where you're finally accepting rejection, it's like if you're dealing with a breakup. So you could look at that video I just made about dismissive avoidance, love trauma, and breakups. You go to the ending, look at the part where I'm talking about breakups, and follow that. But right now, I'll just gloss over it and just say that to deal with this, you just have to accept how the person feel and move on. Just accept them. Accept their feelings. They do not feel the same way about you. They do not care about you the same way. They do not love you the same way. They're not interested in you in that way. They still see you as a friend. They don't want to get back with you. They grow out of love with you. They outgrow you. They change. All of these things happen. It's normal. It's natural. But you just need to accept their feelings and move on. And not beg, manipulate, bribe, lie, try to trick them, force them to be. Do not do all of these things. Create lies. Create this story that you want to try to make them to be with you. They're not into you like that. They do not like you like that. They do not want to be with you. Just accept the way they feel, accept their perspective, and move on. And the next thing you do, you just allow yourself to feel the feelings, which I explained in my last video while going through a breakup. Just allow yourself to grieve, to mourn. Just review the situation in a truthful and honest way. And when you do that, no, you will feel rejected, you feel abandoned, you feel betrayed. Many negative emotions. Just feel them and accept them and review the situation in an honest way. They don't feel the same way. Next thing you do, you work on your goals, you work on your desires, you work on your passions. You just need to focus on you, because you probably focus on them too much, trying to make them love you, trying to make them see that you're a catch, trying to exhausting yourself, trying to create conversations, trying to create meaningful memories, trying to get their attention, reaching out for us all the time, trying to create dates that they're not interested, right? The next thing you should do, after you focus on your goals, focus on your passions, focus on your desires. Next thing you should do is that look at their weaknesses, look at their imperfections. We all have they are just a human being, right? They're just a human being. Look at their wrongdoings, look at their flaws, and stop making excuses for them, and stop justifying their behavior. They are not perfect. They are just a human being. You probably have this fantasy of them that you create in your mind, or you have this false person that you have created in your mind about them, and that's who you are in love with, and that is not real, right? You create this false person in your mind, and that's who you in love with. right? So look at their weaknesses. Sometimes when you be honest and when you be real with yourself and you really look at them, sometimes they're not that great. They are not that great. They have lied to you. They mistreated you. Maybe they took you for granted. Maybe they used you. Check survival mode. I just did a video on survival mode. Maybe they were in survival mode. They're using you for basic needs are money, shelter, food, transport, bills, rent to pay, water, all of these things. They might have used you for this. Look at their weaknesses, look at their imperfections. They're just a human being. You might need to review that you created this post. You probably don't even know them. You think in your mind, oh my God, you're so wonderful, amazing, intelligent, powerful, talented person. Look at them who they are. And I'm not saying they're a bad person now. They might be intelligent, they might have talent, but look at their imperfections. They are just a human being and accept their feelings, right? And the last thing you should do is just end communication with them. Stop being friends with them. Just end communication, unfollow, whatever you need to do, unfollow them. Stop reaching out, texting them, stop calling them, stop trying to meet up with them, stop trying to get closure, stop everything you're doing, right? And end communication, right? So that was the video on unrequited love. It's rejection. It's normal, we all experience this, right? So that is what you should do. If you want to get more details on how you should move on, check the last video I just did with dismissive avoidance, love, trauma, and breakups. Go to the end of the video. I'll be talking about breakups. Look at that, right? So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was useful. And if you like this video and you like this content, you could subscribe, you could hit the like button. And see you in the next video.